welcome to Secret Life of Therapist. I'm your host, Dr. Habiba Zaman, and I have Liz here, who is a registered nurse. She'll be joining us talking about life, love, relationships, state of the world, just what it means to be human these days in her field. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's start off with today. Um, was supposed to be a day that, we weren't going to go to school, not going to go to work. We're kind of like boycotting stuff, not shopping. Um, that was the real tough one for me.
The
Luckily,
no shopping part.
yes, luckily I was off today, but yeah, the no shopping part is really hard, especially when it's so easy just to jump on online now and you don't even have to leave your house to get
Right.
your shopping done nowadays. So,
And the boycotting day for today is just so, you know, we all know what we're talking about. We are boycotting, and that is our way of standing up for human rights and
yes.
lives of everyone in this nation, and just boycotting and protesting the fact that everything that's been going on has been utter shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We're living in a crazy world right now. A fellow ICU nurse, even though it was, miles away in Minnesota, it still hits home.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, ICE has been attacking, innocent people, not only immigrants, but, you know, white Americans, just everybody. So,
I mean, the environment is just really heavy all
yeah,
around.
it is.
I can only
Yeah.
imagine what it's like. You know, I'm in the helping profession, you're in the helping profession, and we're not just navigating ourselves and what this means for us and how we interpret things or how we absorb all of what's happening, but also trying to be there for people, trying to stand up for what we took our ethics and our values and all of our oaths that we've taken in our fields,
Hmm.
to be there, to protect, to love, give that kind of love and consideration and all of it to all of our patients, right?
Exactly.
And it's something that seems that it should be, it's obvious,
Yeah,
right? Like that's what we do. Everybody in the helping fields, we're there to help.
exactly.
And so when you see that those areas that should be sacred are also having to battle that kind of internal war between the head and the heart, what is that like?
Yeah,
I can tell you what it's like in my office.
yeah.
We don't have that problem
Hmm.
because I'm not going to tolerate that,
Yeah,
right? I'm here to advocate for and protect and help heal
yeah.
the end,
Yes.
right?
And we help everybody. I mean, we don't discriminate. We have to help everybody. I don't know if I've taken care of ICE agents myself. I know I've taken care of child molesters and immigrants and white people, black people. I mean,
Because they're human.
yes, exactly. So there's no differences in who we take care of. Everybody gets the same treatment. If you're the VIP of a company or the janitor.
Yeah.
And that's the way I treat everybody, you know, like family. I'm like, how would I want to be treated if I was in that bed? Or how would I want my family member to be
Hmm.
treated? And
I love that you said that because I think that's in the conversations I've had, very, very heated conversations that I've had that were not eloquent whatsoever with family members, with other people about what has been happening and the way things have been unfolding. I've been losing my sanity, you know, over this since the beginning of last year,
mhm,
because this is something I was afraid that was going to happen. And I was projecting that, well, it's going to end up blah, blah, blah. And everyone at that time was like, you're being too much. You're worrying about nothing. This is America. We're not going to let that happen. It's not going to get there. Well, hello, friends.
yes,
Here we are,
yeah,
because that is how hierarchy of power goes. That is how the the gaslighting of what it means to be human being worthy of respect versus someone who's not, the language that has been used from the very beginning, it's just
Hmm.
been incrementally and exponentially growing from then to now.
Yeah.
But the changes that have been made are very, very slight changes in the language, to where if what's happening right now had started that way, then everyone would have been like, absolutely not. What is
Right.
this? This is ridiculous. But because it has been slowly chipped
Microdosed.
away, yes, microdose
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. And I was having panic attacks, literally being like, do you know what it's going to be like? Conversations that I had with my partner, having two brown boys, right? And one that was starting to drive at that time. I was like, do you
Yeah.
know what it's going to be like? Because it's not going to be about, what generation American are you here now?
Right.
Whether it's I'm not, or first generation, it doesn't matter. None of that was going to matter. And I was, you know, freaking out about it then, because this is exactly what I was afraid that this is what it was going to turn into.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
humans aren't seen as humans worthy of respect.
Yeah. You're
And
right.
would you want that to happen to you? The things that are happening, people dismiss the severity of what's happening by saying, well, if they didn't do this, if they wouldn't have done that, if they, okay, and then the end result, does that justify what they were doing? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Aside from, now everybody knows the actual legal limitations for all of this, because people in the legal field have been stepping up, and even mayors, governors, right? Other law
Hmm.
enforcement. Oh, I love it when they do it. I love
Yeah.
it when they do it. So if any of y'all are listening, please, if you're in the field of law enforcement, please speak up, because there's not enough of that.
Yeah.
Of the challenges being like, yeah, no, in law enforcement we don't do that.
Right.
That's not
And
acceptable.
there are a lot of law enforcement officers that are coming out and saying this is wrong, this has to change, you
Yes,
know.
I love it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we need to
So
hear that.
yeah. Yeah, people don't want to put up with the bullshit anymore. And not everyone is like that. I'm sure not every ICE
Mm-mm.
officer is going to, beat people up and stuff like that. So it's making those good ones look bad.
Right.
And yeah,
And that's
so
the thing, immigration enforcement has been around this whole time.
mhm,
And it's there for a reason. It serves its purpose, right? We've had
yeah,
these officers there that follow the law, and they follow the protocol. What we're seeing now is not reflective of what it was supposed to be or what it has been.
yeah,
This is not what it has been, because we've always had ICE officers.
mhm,
And I want to be very careful with these, um, abolish ICE and blah, 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 all of that. You don't need to abolish ICE, because ICE has always been around, right? ICE has been there to serve the papers, to follow through with the step by step actual protocol that's there.
yeah,
This is not that.
mhm.
This is a heinous mutation
Yes, yeah,
of
it's a good
what
word.
it was supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, I know. You're right. It's gotten out of hand. But a lot of people are, stepping up. Everybody's got their cameras out, filming everything. Um,
Which is also apparently supposed to be illegal now,
but it's not going to stop,
right? Right to
but
documentation.
exactly. But hopefully, things will get better because it seems to, be pretty bad right now. So I'm hopeful that, you know, unfortunately it took a lot of bad things to happen, you know, but um like I said, I didn't want to shop today. I wanted to stand in solidarity with everything that's happening. Um, but I wouldn't go out there like in protest or anything because I mean, I tried that once before and it was fun and everything, but yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth. You have to speak up and you have to write letters and you have to make phone calls and you do have to be vocal to
We can't
make
be
your
passive.
voice heard, but personally, I wouldn't be involved in that. And even though we're not in Minnesota, it's happening in all the big cities,
Mhm.
and we're
It's been
near a big
happening
city here.
here.
Yeah, yeah. So stay safe out there, guys.
And
Hopefully,
that's, that's, I think it's very important to advocate for what methods there are to be able to have your voice heard, because not, showing up for protests is not for everyone.
hmm
I've done them.
yeah,
And if there's any rallies, I will go to them, and I've tried to do that. That is my kind of personality.
hmm
I am more um, loud. um, I remember, when was it? It was around 2020, because that was when I was renovating my office, and long story, but basically the contractor did a terrible job, didn't finish his work, and then like took the money and ran.
mm.
In 2020, and I had come back when we were supposed to be moving in, and there's just piles of debris
Oh my
and
goodness.
pieces everywhere, and the movers are there with the office furniture, and I was like,
Yeah.
what? And a large piece of marble from the old fireplace was just right there in the middle. So I decided that I was going to be big and bad enough to be able to move it. And I engineered this like mechanism to be able to use physics to be able to move it
Yeah.
myself.
A lift pulley.
Yes, ma'am. And I was gonna throw it out the window, because there's bushes on the bottom. It'll, at least that way we can take it out in pieces. Um, and I slipped,
Oh
and I landed
no.
on the edge of the piece of the marble on
Oh
my
my
knee, and I
gosh.
tore something, and then I also fractured my ankle.
Oh
So fun
no.
times, because at that point, if you weren't actively, your health was in tragic risk. They weren't taking anyone to the
Yeah.
emergency room, so I couldn't get any X-rays. I couldn't get a cast. I couldn't do anything.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and in this time, there was a rally, and my kids call from their dad's house, "Mom, please don't try to go." And then what my eldest was like, "You're rickety already. You're rickety already." And I just remember I was like, "Rickety?" I've never heard him say that word. I don't ever use that word, but that's what he called me. I was rickety. I was like,
Oh,
what? And
that's
that
funny.
night, my dad called, and I think I was on a date, right? Hobbling over kind of thing in that whatever mess. Maybe. I don't remember, but I wasn't home. And my dad was blowing up my phone, and I saw the notifications on Ring. So then I go through the Ring camera, and I was just like, "But what are you doing?" And he was like, "Why are you not at home? Why are you not at home? Are you protesting this mess?" I was like, "I can't walk. I have a fractured ankle. No, I'm not trying to do." But do you see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even my children at that point, my youngest would have been 10, right? And they were like, "This bitch is gonna be out there getting run over by something because she's doing what she does." So I believe in that. That is in my blood. That is what I was raised to be. That was what I was raised to do. But no, that is a terrible risk. And my
Yeah.
dad's constantly like, "You have children to think about." And he's absolutely right. I do have children. But
Yeah.
for me, I want my children to see that this is what you do in a time like this. You stand up and you show up,
Right.
right? And that's different for so many people. That's
hmm
not the only way to show up.
Yeah.
I just have all of that pent up energy. So it's
Yeah.
like, "Da!" Right? I'm ready to be out there and do all these things. Um, but you don't have to. And no, I don't say that everybody needs to, because not everybody needs to do that.
Yeah.
We need also the balance of the ones who will do the peaceful things like protest. I mean, not
hmm
protest, I'm sorry, boycott things,
hmm
right? To write the letters, to make the annoying calls, to be more on the creative end of having your voice be heard. That's
Yeah.
not as,
That's dangerous.
as, yes.
Because I did back in 2020. We also my kids wanted to go to a protest, and we did signs, and
Mhm.
I took them there. I had a backpack full of like
Mhm.
emergency supplies
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
water and stuff
Yeah.
because I'm always in mom
I
slash
mean,
nurse
you're
mode.
a nurse. Yeah, of course you're going to be.
So,
Maybe I'll have you in my car and be like, just in case
well,
I
no,
trip over something.
yeah, no, I'll be out there and I'll be like looking at everybody, making
Yeah.
sure nobody needs my assistance or needs
Right.
my help. And
Right.
so for me, it's a lot of work because it never shuts off. That nurse
Right.
instinct is
Always
always
on.
there,
Yeah.
I'm always looking for something going on so I can get involved.
Yeah.
And then I get involved and I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Next time this happens, I'm not going to get involved. And then I always do.
And tell me why. Tell me why you always do.
I can't shut it off. Like I'm always thinking about my next step or always aware of my surroundings. And I'm always like, okay, if something happens, I'm a seasoned nurse. I'm a mom of three. I know how to take care of shit.
Yeah.
I know how to do things. I know how to take care of people. I know how to de-escalate
Yes.
situations. Um, you know, I never thought of myself as a hero, but I think I do have that little bit of a complex of like, oh, I could save the world, you know.
But you can. You have this, you
Yeah.
literally have the skill set to do so.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I know I could save some people. I know I could do CPR, and I
yes.
know, for some reason, I've been doing this for so long that it just kicks in. Like
Hmm.
my instinct is there, and I don't panic. That's the
Right.
number one thing you
Right.
can't do is panic.
Right.
And so, I don't know. I feel like I've been put in situations where I was able to, take care of business and walk away unscathed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, I think,
um,
again, I do think that's a skill set,
yeah,
that not a lot of people have,
yeah,
the
it's
ability
experience.
to, jump into action. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
It's much needed and very necessary in this world.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I think, some people just run and hide or they could sit there and film something that's going on and not,
Interfere to help.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not that way. I don't know. I try not to let the emotions take
Yeah.
over me. But I am a very emotional person and, but
You're human.
yes, yeah, that's true. I think I am anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
I think that's what, that right there might be why you're saying, I'm not going to go physically to these protests. Because if you did see something like that, you would have no choice but to act. You
yeah,
just said you're not going to be the one standing there watching or filming.
exactly. Yeah. I'll definitely be getting involved, even though
Right.
I say I won't, but I will.
Yeah. See, I don't even try to delude myself. I, and which is why I'm in being honest with myself. I know I would.
Yeah, I know you would too. You're a little badass. I remember one time we went to a concert and some chick behind me was like getting drunk and she was with her friends and she spilled some beer on me and boy, I was so surprised. I'm usually the one that's ready to fight, but I was like, okay, I'm with my friends here. I don't want to start a scene or anything, but I just let it go and I just turned around and looked at her and you were like, "Hey, bitch, you better stop dropping that beer on my friend," or else. I was like, "Oh my god, I
That
love
was the
her."
energy. That was not the language. That was 100% the energy. That was not the language. I did
it
turn
was
back and I say, "Do you mind?"
it was
I was
great.
like, "You're spilling your drink. Do you mind?" And then just kind of stared her down until she put her foot was also on your back. So lots of disrespectful behavior. But the energy was definitely watch yourself.
Yeah, but I knew I was like, man, she's a good friend. She's got my back. Because usually I'm that person, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the bodyguard. I'm the one like protecting everybody. It's just like I said, it's an instinct that
It's
I've
innate.
had,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's the way I grew up. That's the way I am as a mom
Right.
and as a nurse. I protect my patients.
Right.
So, but that was nice that you protected me. I thought that was great.
Oh, of course. Well, in my I can't remember when, but in one of the interviews that I've done, they were like, what made you want to be an advocate? And I was like, want to be an advocate? There is no wanting to be an advocate. I feel like you are one.
Yeah.
You're just born one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like this since I was a little girl. I can tell you the ways that I've, and I gave them examples, and some of them are, they're not embarrassing because I would 100% do them now, but it caused a huge ruckus in my home and in my culture. And I grew up with my grandfather
Mm-hmm.
and my grandmother and my two uncles, their wives and their kids. So that's how I grew up in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And um, the point of it was, my dad was a single dad, and he's like, it was him and two of his best friends trying to raise me. It was literally three men and a baby
Yeah.
situation going on. And he was like, yeah, this is not the best life that I could give a daughter right now. Us, the three of us, trying to figure this out.
Right.
So he sent me to go live with my grandparents. And he's like, she'll be surrounded by children, surrounded by love, and
Mm-hmm.
plenty of adults that
Yeah.
will love and take care of her. So that was his mindset. And I remember we lived in a house. We lived in the city, and we had a brick wall around our property
Mm-hmm.
that I was always climbing over and climbing into the trees to escape. I was one of those children. And my children don't know any of these stories, thankfully, because they're good kids compared to what I was.
Yeah.
And my
I said
best
same.
friend was in a shack next to mine.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this 2-story house, right? And she was in a tin shack.
A little dilapidated
Yes.
building.
And
Oh.
she was my best friend. Her name was Kushbu.
Cute.
And when I would go to school, it was the same thing. I struggled with going to school. I didn't want to go to school. Shocking,
Same.
I know. But my grandmother would walk me to school, and then a bus would bring me back, but like a little van kind of thing. And one of the girls there, who also lived around my little area, she was talking about this boy that was harassing her,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I would have been maybe 7 years old at this point. And he would sit there and he would like pull on her hair, and he would say this and he would say that, but I couldn't hear what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
He would do it to where no one was looking, kind of thing. But I would see him pull her hair, kind of thing, to get her attention. And then she would just be so distraught and start crying. And I asked her one day, like, what was happening. And I can't tell you verbatim what it was, but I know I was just like,
Yeah.
And my grandfather, right? We all knew that he was in the British Army, right? Before the Independence War, which he was in the British Army. My dad fought in the Independence War.
Oh wow.
So you see how that is
Yeah.
in my blood,
Yeah.
right? Like
Soldier.
yes, but like my dad fought for freedom,
Yeah.
and my grandfather was like, oh my God, and he was retired by then, but he was like, oh my God, what are y'all doing, right? And then that's a whole another story. But I was like, we don't do this. So in my culture, and being a woman, being a
Right.
girl in
Yes.
general, boys are just taught to be that way, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And we are not to draw attention to ourselves and not put ourselves in a position where a boy would be wanting to do things like that,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Bother the fuck out of you just
Yeah.
because he can. And other girls would giggle because he was really cute, but basically just gave him, full reign to act however he wanted, and no one was going to do anything. And her thing was, everyone would make fun of her. This was my friend, because she was really dark.
Mm.
And the colorism thing is all over the world.
Yeah.
But that kind of behavior was also, I was just like, and if we weren't against the black wall right now, I'd be blending into the beige wall because I'm so and desperately need a tan.
Me too.
But that was something that was so celebrated there.
Yeah.
Right. So again, privilege, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was privileged that I didn't have to experience that kind of bullying because my skin is fair. That is the only reason
Yeah.
I wasn't bullied like that, for that one reason. And I went to my grandfather and I was just like, this boy is doing this and da 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 da. Do something or I will.
Yes, exactly.
And I remember that I was petrified. My cousins, because they were all, two of them were older, were like, why don't say anything? Just don't
Yeah,
say
just ignore
anything.
it. Yeah.
He's from this family and he's from this, you know,
Mhm.
wealthy family and he's this and he's that. And they lived nearby in a high rise that we could see. And my grandfather was like, what? Who? And I was like, Dada, let me show you. And took him to the roof,
Mhm.
right? Because we have a flat roof and we would always go play upstairs. And I was just like, that boy right there from
Oh,
that house. And then he was like, and has he ever done anything to you guys, to you or whatever?
yeah.
And I was like, no, he tries to be my friend. He wants to be nice to me, but he doesn't get to be mean to my friend.
Yeah. That's
And
good that you stood up.
I was like, and Dada was like, did anything? And now I can tell you, he was asking me, did anything happen? Like,
Yeah.
what was there any sexual violations that are happening? Was there any physical violations like that? I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, he keeps pulling her hair,
Mhm.
pulls her hair. He touches her, and he shouldn't be touching her at all because
Mhm.
that's part of our culture and our religion. So I was like, we know this is wrong,
Yeah.
but she's crying over it, which is what I'm upset about.
Right.
But Dada, if you won't, I will. And then my other cousins were like, oh my God, make her stop. Right. And Dada's like, I'll handle it. And he walked me with them because he was like, if you're going to accuse someone of something, you're going to own it.
Mhm.
So again, from a very young age, if you run your mouth, you're going to have to own what you say.
Yeah.
There is no hiding from it. Accountability was huge when I was growing up.
Sure.
Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. You own what you did. If it's shameful, then you shouldn't have done it, kind of
Mhm.
thing. And he did. He took me over there, asked me if this was the boy. And then I told the parents, he was like, tell them what's happening. And I did. And then he was just like, and then like, just like hanging his head, like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. My grandfather goes, Posh!
Oh my god.
Slaps him open palm right there
Wow.
in front of his parents.
I did not expect that.
And I was like, oh, it exists. You can protect people.
Mhm.
You can stand up for what's right. And you
Wow.
can do it boldly and it will be
Yes.
okay. And that is something, again, that advocate in me,
Mhm.
right, was already there.
Yeah.
But my grandfather solidified that. And he was like, you always speak up for people who don't
Yeah.
or can't.
Yeah. It's good
Was there
philosophy.
consequence at home? Yes. My cousins were embarrassed, right? Because I now created a scene, and you don't create scenes like that. My grandmother was upset. She's like, why did you do that? Now I have to explain myself, and you're this, and you're that. And then, a loud, outspoken, opinionated little girl, that is 100% not acceptable. So there was a lot of consequence for that.
Yeah.
And I faced those consequences over the course of my life. And there was a
Sure.
time when it did silence me, not for advocating for others, but for advocating for myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of things had happened that if I still was that fiery little girl,
Mhm.
I would have fought back for, but
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
because of those consequences for a good while. And then obviously, you guys all know that that's not me anymore. I have no problems with that now.
Yeah.
But I will 100% stand up for people who can't.
That's great. Yeah. Some people are like that, I think I grew up like that too. Um, but yeah, I didn't like bullies at school. So, and I wasn't a bully. I just like used to fight bullies because, I
The
would be like,
only fights I've ever been in, fist fights, because I've been in multiple, was defending someone else.
yeah,
I have the
exactly.
scars from it too.
Yeah. And with that being said, you do kind of like lose yourself. You put other people before you.
Hmm.
So a lot of times, I was detrimental to my own self, not sticking up for myself or not doing the things that I should have been doing for myself because
Hmm.
I was too busy protecting others.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I love that you're like that because not everyone is like that. And I think that's why me and you get along so well too, because we could just,
We can
go
recognize that
somewhere.
in each other.
Yes.
Yes.
And we know that, we're gonna protect each other.
Right.
Like, we're going to stick up for each other. If something happens, we're not just going to back down and let things happen.
Right.
So I'm glad that you're like that. But yeah, my grandfather on my mom's side was a professional boxer
Mm,
in, their country of Uruguay, where my family comes from. Um, but as early as I can remember, I always had that fire inside me. Like, I remember when we used to go visit my cousins in Carroll City, and I have a younger sister, and she wanted to ride my boy cousin's bike. And at first he let her, but then he's like pushing her off of it, making her cry.
yeah.
It just infuriated me so much. I started like,
The imbalance of power.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So alpha me comes out. And I'm telling him to stop it and he better watch himself. And
Were you older?
no, we're about the same age.
See?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he pushed me and I fell back. And at first I started laughing, but then, he wouldn't help me get back up and he wanted to fight. And so I just,
Did you
he
waylay his
unleashed,
ass?
oh yeah, I beat the shit out of him. And then I was so proud and so happy that my grandparents were in that house at that time. And I went up to my grandfather and I was like, "You're not going to believe what just happened." And I told him what happened. And he started like making me feel so bad. Like,
Mm.
girls don't fight.
Oh,
Oh, and I was like, I want to be a boxer just like you because I always loved it.
yeah.
And he's like, no, you can't.
Girls don't. Yeah.
Yeah. He just made me feel like shit. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but
Consequence. That's what I mean.
yeah,
The
but it didn't
consequences
stop
of
me.
it.
It
Because,
didn't stop.
again, I think that's just you as a person,
Yeah.
right? But that's what I mean by consequences. The consequences we receive from others, especially ones that we value,
Hmm.
they define how we see ourselves, but then they also define how we show up to the world,
Yeah.
right? Whether they mean to in a positive or a negative way, it really doesn't matter.
Hmm.
You know, I am against the saying, well, it's the intention that matters. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? So many people hide behind that. Well, like, they had good intentions. No, think it through. Actually plan it and be intentional with what you do.
Hmm.
Right?
True.
Because intentions are not enough. I don't believe in that whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think that it's fed to little girls. And then as women, we carry that. Well, let's look at their intention. Right? And we let so much slide.
Yeah.
um, and then you don't advocate for yourself because you try to find that intention in them. Well, they probably meant this and they probably did this and well, maybe they just weren't. Like, that was my thing. I spent my whole life trying to justify other people's behavior as they didn't really mean it, because of course they would come back and say I didn't mean it.
Hmm.
But then when it happens again and then it happens again, and eventually you get tired of coming up with new and creative ways of telling somebody they're hurtful.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And then that's when you explode. And then
And then you're the crazy one.
and then exactly. I was
Right.
just gonna say then it's all your fault
Right.
and you're the one that's to
And
blame.
then the cycle continues, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know, and if you haven't been taught how to look for it, how to advocate for yourself, or even know that you're worthy of advocating for, like you were saying, you advocate for other people so much that sometimes it was at the expense of you,
Hmm. That's true.
right?
Well, I think also though the older I get now, the less I give, I couldn't give two F's. It's
Oh,
like
you can say it. You have no more flex left to give.
exactly.
Yes.
And I know that, that happens to a lot of people and it comes with age, but it's true. It's like, you know what do I have to lose now?
I love that you said that. What do I have to lose now? And for different people, it comes in different stages, right? I
Hmm.
do think there's a big part of it is the changes we go through as women, right? Perimenopause, menopause, and that's usually when you see Ashley Judd. Have you seen her thing?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh,
I
she's
love
amazing.
her.
I
She's so
love
cute.
her, but she has these reels that she'll post now where she's in the ocean and she's like splashing around. She's like, does it look like I fucking care? You know? She's like, because I don't have any fucks left to give. This is the no fucks given club or
Yes.
something like that. It's beautiful. And yes, you see it a lot more in women who are in that age range.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think for a lot of people, or at least it was for me, that reality of no matter how much I try, it doesn't change the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you get slapped in the face with that by the universe enough times,
Yeah.
I think you eventually learn. I learned the hard way. It takes too many slaps for me
Yeah.
to learn my lesson. Do you know? Again, this is me being nerdy, but your brain, for it to absorb new information.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you meet someone like me, right? You were just saying how I am a protector, so you feel safe when we go out, that I've got your back.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to throw you under the bus 25 times, 23 actually is what the studies show. 23 times before your brain's like, wait a minute, maybe that's not her. Maybe she's not the protector. Maybe she's not safe. It would take
Wow.
23 times. So the way I teach my clients, I'm like, do you know how many times you need to get bitch slapped in the face by the universe before you learn your lesson? 23 times.
Yeah. That's funny. I didn't know that.
But neurologically, right, this is not just my opinion. Studies show that when you have a belief, when you have a perception, when you have a reality.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you met somebody, you're dating them, and they love bomb the fuck out of you, right? They're just the best thing ever. They've presented themselves in this, all the things that you're like,
Yeah.
this exists,
That's how it
right?
usually starts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It would take 23 offenses before
Mm-hmm.
the neurons in your brain start to be like, wait a minute, maybe the reality I created about this person is
Mm-hmm.
not accurate.
Yeah.
23.
Damn.
Ah!
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm like, nah, that's not true. 23, 53, 73, 1,003 later, I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Exactly.
is it now? But I loved it when I learned that, when I read that study, and I was just like, damn it. Ah,
Yeah.
ah, right? Because I need um legitimate like boundaries
Yeah.
of this is what it needs to be
Mm-hmm.
before I will allow myself to trust my own perception.
Right, right. And that's what it is. It's your trust in your own self. It's like I said, you put yourself last. You're trying to give the person the benefit of the doubt, and you start like wondering if it's you
Mm-hmm.
and not them. And yeah, I believe that it takes that long, and I believe that we tolerate a lot more than that, a lot more than 23 times before we,
Right,
convince ourselves or realize what's really going on.
right.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, okay, obviously I put more value in someone else than I do in myself.
Mhm.
So when you get to the stage where you have no more fucks left to give,
Yeah.
I think it's because you've learned that lesson so
Mhm.
many times that
Yeah.
putting yourself last does not result in the fruitful whatever that you thought it was going to, that they were going
Mhm.
to understand, that they were going to love you back the way you need to be loved, that they were going to respect you, they're going to hear you out, or they're even going to understand where you're coming from. You learn those lessons eventually.
Yeah.
And that's when, if that's happened enough times,
Mhm.
you have no more fucks left to give.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice. It's liberating. It's
Right?
freeing.
Yeah.
I'm single right now. My kids are grown, even though they're always going to be my babies. I'm
Yeah.
always going to be there for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice. And I really do believe in self care. I've been trying to take care of myself a lot
Yeah.
and been putting myself first
Yeah.
for once in my life. It took
Right.
me 50 some odd years, but here I am living my best life now,
Yes.
you know?
And I think that's the shift that we're seeing um, in society right now, which again, there's a lot of consequence for that,
Hmm.
right? Where women are not interested
Hmm.
in less than that,
Yeah.
right? If this is what I'm showing with, I'd like for you to show up with that as well.
Yeah.
A very simplified version of what's going on, but they're advocating for them. If they're like, and if I'm not going to get that, then I'm good,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I'm okay with solidarity. I'm like, of course, it would be nice to find a partner that's equal, or better, but it's hard out there. And to be honest, like right now, I'm not even like searching for anything right now because, the status of the world right now, it's pandemic still hasn't really gone away. I mean, we're still seeing a lot of,
Yeah,
sickness out there, and, the political world is upside down, and
yeah.
but you just have to try to make the best of it. And like I said, I'm just trying to live every day the best I can, be the best person that I can, take good care of myself.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, I got to book a massage soon. I'm due for one.
Yes, yes.
So self care is very important.
Especially with what's going on in the world.
Hmm.
Um, I might have already spoken about this in a previous podcast, but bear with me if I have. But I had it, I was a guest on another podcast in November, end of November, December, something like that. And he had asked, what's the hardest part about being a therapist, being a mom, being a business owner, author, whatever. Um, and I told him, which is still the truth, it hasn't eased at all. It's holding my own anxieties, holding the anxieties of everyone else about the dumpster fire of a world that we're in right now,
Hmm.
and still trying to instill hope.
Yeah,
It's exhausting.
it is. It is. But don't give up.
Of course not.
We got to keep going.
We
We got
have
to
to,
keep pushing forward. The world keeps moving. We can't stop it. Um,
which is why I think action is so important,
yeah.
right? Emotion, probably said this before, I will say this every time, emotion follows action.
Hmm.
We don't feel motivated, especially with what's going on, especially when I feel helpless.
Yeah,
I feel so helpless. Um,
I
I do a lot
understand.
of immigration work. I've always done immigration work,
Hmm.
right? With human trafficking and domestic violence and things like that, because trauma is my specialty. And I loved doing it. And it's so much right now. The heaviness, I have less of those, believe it or not, because they're afraid.
Yeah.
They're afraid to go through the process because the ones who have shown up, this has happened to me, to my client, where we couldn't find him.
Mm.
I was supposed to have another
Wow.
session with him. He was supposed to go for his last and final
Yeah.
appearance in front of the judge about his case that has been going on for a decade for
Wow.
asylum, right? This was the decision one.
Hmm.
He never got to see the judge.
Oh, darn.
And then we couldn't find him.
Yeah.
So we didn't know where he had been taken. And then when they did find him, and I made an appointment, and then he got moved that day, and then we couldn't find him again.
Wow.
And it's so stressful. And I'm not even living it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just one of the things about having empathy that's so important
Hmm.
is, check your privilege.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't impact you, you don't know what that's like, what that might be like, doesn't mean that anybody else should experience it either.
Right.
And I believe we lose a piece of our humanity
Hmm.
when we dismiss that, when we dismiss the suffering of someone else.
Yeah. Or keep quiet or look away. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, that's why, like you said, we're privileged. We can speak up, even though from Latin descent. Growing up, Latin was not easy for me. I used to, again, get into a lot of fights because people would be making fun of my mom, the way she talked, and it would piss me off.
Yeah.
So
So you
I'd
stand up
be,
for her. Mm-hmm.
exactly, I would
Oh,
stand up for her. And, I've gotten into plenty of fights with, you know, other students or other people that would, even if we were like in the grocery store, and somebody would say something, because it really was not cool to be Hispanic
yeah.
when I was growing up. And so going through school, I was like, I'm going to learn that English language so well that I'm not going to have an accent. Nobody's ever going to know that I even speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And to this day, people, when they hear me speak Spanish, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, it was my first language, but I would
Yeah.
tell them the story because, yeah, I went through a lot,
Mhm.
growing up Hispanic. And, then it got cool, like when, Sofia Vergara was like, everybody's like, ooh, Hispanic accent. That's so sexy,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I wish I would have had one. But yeah, it's back to we hate Spanish people. We hate immigrants. We
Ah,
hate... So, and then, and I say the same thing about nurses. In 2020, we were all heroes, and
yes.
now we're not even professionals. you it's so ridiculous. I'm like, it's gonna change again. Don't worry, guys. I'm trying to get my kids to be nurses too. I'm
Yeah.
like, don't worry, you're still a professional. It's a
Yeah.
great, job. You'll never be without a job.
Right.
It's a noble
That's needed.
profession.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But
The medical system would not work without nurses.
oh, I know. I know. It's funny how administration and stuff like that bitch about the nurses or whatever going on strike, but they wouldn't be able to run the hospital without us. They
No.
wouldn't be able to do the bedside stuff that we do. And, even though it's hard work and I know somebody's got to do it, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that I chose this profession, and it's, taught me a lot, taught me a lot about everything, about the body, about how life works. It's helped me so much throughout my whole life. Just, and it's a passion. It's like,
Yes.
you know,
It shows.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it's also a very good reflection of you, as in like this is an extension of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it
Yeah,
seems like this is who you've always been. Now you
yeah,
just have the terminology and the actions to support it.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's great. And, I hope that more people, get into it because they always talk about the shortage and,
mhm.
they kind of do make it difficult for people to, if there's such a shortage and we want more nurses, it's like, why do you make it so difficult? Why is it so expensive? Why is it so hard to get through school?
That's
But
everything,
yeah, exactly.
right?
And that's what I tell my kids. I'm like, tell me one profession that is not hard to get into,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're always going to see
That's
ups and
needed,
downs. Yeah,
right?
exactly. And it's very needed right now.
Yeah.
So more than ever. Um, but yeah, I'm in a good place right now. So I'm happy with everything. Thank God. Knock on wood.
Well, good. No, we definitely appreciate people like you.
Oh, thank you. And likewise, we need more Habibas out in the world.
I don't know if the
Uh,
world could handle that. But
Only when we're on your good side. We don't want to piss you off. Uh,
oh, probably facts.
oh, that's cute.
Mm. But thank you. Thank you for coming out
Oh, of
here, and
course,
thank you
of course.
for joining us and sharing your life and your history and your childhood and your experience and what you believe in. Thank you for
Thank
sharing all of
you.
it.
Well, thank you for having me, and maybe in the future we'll come up with some other good topics to talk about.
Oh, I already know which one. So stay tuned. And you too. Stay tuned if you're willing.
I am. I am.
Thank you again
Mm.
for indulging us and listening to our conversation. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.